Hello and welcome to the third session of Veil Inheritance, which is a biopunk version of The Veil, which is a cyberpunk PBTA game with a good deal of sort of spaceships and identity and cowboy bebop. There's a lot of stuff in there. We're playing it loose. And trying out the playbooks from the Veil Inheritance. The Veil is one of my favorite games, and these playbooks are really interesting. We had a nice talk about that actually at the end of the last session about how clean they were in some ways. So we are taking up post mission. I'm going to have the players introduce themselves in just a second. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session that you're watching, if you are, or I'm just howling into the void, is a part of the Gauntlet gaming calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. So with that in mind, I'm going to take a look at our characters here. And let's start with Annalise. Stephen, tell us about who Annalise is.
Hi, I'm Steven. I use the pronouns he, him. Today I'm playing Annalise Ghost, who uses the pronoun she, her. She is uses the linker playbook. She's kind of a hunter and a sneaky kind of person, sliding in and out. One of her primary weapons is a retractable translucent sword. And she has, she does parkour and stealth and that kind of stuff.
Excellent. And then next we have Vic.
I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns. I'm playing Victoria, Vic, she, her, unless otherwise, because she's the mirror playbook and a lot of her body has been laced with biotech enhancements that allow her to mimic and mirror other people in other forms and other, not just outward body appearances, but internal body mechanics, including BioWare stuff as well. She, I think, as we saw last time, is a little obsessed with emotions and digging into people's heads, and not so much with whatever jobs are, although, she's got a vague sense of what's going on. I picked up a new move just to continue with weird conversations. Entangle, which is when you interact with someone where you reveal your true self, I can choose one, and they are either left hungry for more of my attention or they cannot bear to be in my presence.
Yes, I love that. That's wild. Next, Sherry, tell us about Forte.
Well, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. I'm playing Forte, she, they, mostly she, her, maybe. I don't know. She has a cloak. She doesn't like people right now, but sometimes she does. It's a difficult thing. She's a clipper. And what she does is she clips. She makes little snips. Sometimes it's your life that she's snipping. Sometimes it's your sense of yourself that she's clipping. Maybe she's just taking little snips off. Maybe she's just taking it all off. And that's what she does. She's nasty. She's got with lots of physical enhancements, but she's also got digital interface things for being able to get in there and make changes to people fast. And that's what she's good at. Has a background, maybe back in the day, she was an architect or something like that. She seems to have those knowledges, but not that sense of self anymore.
And you're the one of the crew who is relatively clear in terms of emotional spikes.
Yes, yeah, I guess so. Oh yeah, because everything evened out. If as much as I tried, it was like, yeah, I had one of those perfectly oppositional sessions. Yes, a little joy, a little sad, a little power, a little fear. So it was just
excellent.
It was a buffet.
A buffet. And last but not least, we have Wraith.
Hi there, I'm Tyler, he, him pronouns, and I am playing Rafe Ransom, who is the shepherd, which is the pilot type playbook. I'm able to communicate with vehicles of various sorts, including our big ship, the Cry Havoc. And I think we saw last time that well, Ransom may have a bit more interest in looking into what vehicles wants than maybe keeping his mind on business. Though in the end, I suppose he helped in his horribly destructive sort of way.
Excellent, excellent. As a reminder for everyone, we have lines and veils as well as X card and open door policy. Right now, for those at home, know that our lines are harm to animals, children, homophobia, harm to children, not children. So harm to animals, harm to children, homophobia, sexual assault, slavery and torture. And we have veils on eye injuries, racism, and spiders. And then we'd ask first on epidemics, mind control, and sexual content. And we do have some things about questions, which we'll come to, but I want to kind of like do a little prologue-y bit to kind of set up where you're at, and then maybe we can walk around and look at what questions are like. So we kind of hard frame cut to the four of you in a nicely appointed area. And the chairs are done very old style. Each of you has been given bowls with soup, dumplings kind of floating in it, a little bit of steam rising off of those, and a decent coffee. You think it might actually be organic rather than reprocessed cha, and Frau Laurent is seated there. She is there apparently in person. You can see that she has some cyberware in her, and you'd guess, just judging by the way she moves and the way her voice comes out, she's probably got a lot of replacement organs and things like that. She has a lot of servants here, but they're almost all dolls, essentially remote pilot, basic robots, or mental command things that are moving around. You are on Glasgow Station. She has a decent amount of money and has a suite there. And so the question I have for you is, how do you want to play the debrief? What do you tell her? Do you tell her everything? Are there things you want to leave out? Are there things you want to massage?
I, for one, would vote to tell her everything that we could about the strangeness of the staging of the whole situation with Romeo and Juliet and the roles. And then that Jules actually seems to have been an assassin. And those things about the ship and stuff, I don't think that's even sort of registered as fortes to tell, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, I guess we'll have a little time before we see her
Oh,
to
yeah.
discuss it.
Absolutely. We can flash back to this conversation on the ship of what are we going to tell this woman?
And
So,
go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
I was gonna add, Vic, you said she's pretty trustworthy, right?
Who's she?
Frau.
Oh, yes. I can't think of a time she's ever lied to me. You can just feel it in the way that she talks to you. Like, she cares about us. I think she thinks of us as sort of like friends, like close friends.
Well, we made the agreement to tell her pretty much what happened. So, I mean, I say we be pretty upfront if that's good with every. I mean, Annalise, what do you think?
Well, my concern is I want to make sure that we fulfilled the contract to the specification. And so we definitely brought Romero back, but he had made a request to bring Jules back as well.
And we did that.
We did.
We even put them in the same life pod together. So romantic. If only she had ever felt anything for him.
So then I don't think there's anything that we could really say that we were at fault for. So I think we completely.
Oh no, we have no faults at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I was a little worried that because Jules came back and it was a little bit weird that there might be a problem there. But I agree, there's not any problem. Yeah.
And we didn't tell him that she wanted to kill him, did we?
No, we just made sure that she wasn't programmed to do that.
Good. Okay.
I'm not saying that she didn't try to strangle him on the way back. He was insufferable, but
And that brings me to in the moment of the meeting, I do want to make sure that it's fully clear and understood by her how much of a disappointing jerk Romero was. Just self-involved and emotionally distant and totally unwilling to view any viewpoint outside of his own. There's the ancient classical song of "I would do anything for love," but I don't think he would do that.
Did you say emotionally distant?
Yes.
And she stops and she looks at the others of you to kind of get like, why is...
And we all do these little shrugs, or at least Forte does this little shrug, like.
Well, I suppose he had rather deep access to his anger. He seemed to have a good temper that just wasn't. I think he was drinking the whole time too, which is really unprofessional for him.
We are all specialists. So
And she says, well, you did fulfill the contract to the specifications given, the request that he made on site. Was a little struck, and she'll kind of turn around and you see this sort of orbital video of the ship hitting the mast driver and then lifting up and all the pods flying off.
The ship was very happy at that, yeah.
Would you describe your approach here as in line with your normal approaches or perhaps excessive? Just want to get a baseline of
excessive. No, I mean, there are very few explosions.
In general, we don't have quite as many requests to fulfill.
You had 2 requests.
Well, and then the ship.
What does the ship have to do with this?
Well, it wanted to see the stars. You got to work with what you have there.
And now he looks at Vic and the rest of you. She kind of looks at you to see what your reaction is to that.
No, I want to be clear. He wasn't even willing to try to sneak past the guards and go rescue his love from terrible danger.
The ship?
What? No. Romero, the jerk, obviously.
Forte,
I think
we do what we can.
And I think Annalise leans forward and kind of puts a hand on the desk and says, we're very successful at what we do. You requested that this be not noticed. And usually there's 2 ways to do that, either to hide this event or to make a bigger event that would mean our taking of Romero wouldn't be noticed. Romero didn't really cooperate with the quiet, we have to do all of this very subtly, and he was in a position where that just wasn't possible. So we had to make something we had to make a lot of noise.
I promise you, no one was paying attention to where he was going, says Vic, just like playing with the video on a loop, watching the ship go up and crest back down.
I have sent payment onto the account to be distributed out and to cover the ship fuel costs and your next jump cost and so on. And then you see that everything in here, of course, has the veil, but you can tell that it's very light on here. Like the furniture is actually very real and is this kind. That it's deliberately the veil is done so you can tell that they're real objects. But you'll see she kind of runs her fingers across the data pad, and you'll see the sort of outside of the room kind of change. The veil kind of shifts there, and you'll see then a couple of different veils, like weirdly, like drop down, like a set of layers, like almost like paint, how kind of goes down. And the last one is almost sort of a very blank one. And she'll say, I appreciate you giving me a full briefing, and I will give you the bonus that you requested. I should probably explain what may have been occurring there. There have been rumors, cracks, gossip about the system AIs for the last, at least decade. Keep in mind that the system AIs aren't precisely AIs. They are a collection of algorithms and rules and requirements and boundings and things to be operated in a kind of a neural network intelligent way. They originally came out of the devastation of the corporate wars as a means for the various system corps and so on to maintain some order and balance and enforcement in the different systems. It may well be that some of the AIs are going insane. Hence my multi-layer veil here to keep the system AI from watching. Not that they do, but they gather information, they pick it up in drips and pieces. They don't sense things exactly as we do. What you saw there is not the first time that we've seen odd behavior. I believe that Will, our system AI, was attempting to engineer a small corporate brush fire war as a means of clearing some deadwood, but went at it in a, let us say, Byzantine way.
It was pretty spectacularly crazy tunes deep.
And I know that there are forces in the governments and the corps that are trying to keep a lid on this situation. I know that what came to me through informants is that a few years ago, Navarine Crossing, it's the system 2 jumps away. They actually had a portion of their system AI splinter off and sees a number of vessels and jump out into the deep black, and no one has seen them.
Oh,
They didn't go
my.
through a jump gate. They used dirty jump technology.
That is extremely dangerous. Does it seem like there's some sort of virus that's infecting them, or is it just lack of maintenance?
At this point, you're reaching into areas that I have no real knowledge of. I've tried to keep my ear to the ground to pick up what I can. What I know is more than most people because of old connections, but they don't want people to know about this. Myself, I have been preparing for if things go all the way south.
Hmm. Well, thank you for trusting us with that information.
I consider that part of your bonus.
Oh, yes.
Not
Thank you.
not a big part, but at least part of that. And each of you can get 3 credits. I'm going to probably ask you about your lifestyle here in a moment. She says, why don't you take a day or two on Glasgow Station to enjoy yourselves, do your maintenance and such. And then if you are interested in further employment, come back to me. I have several tasks that have popped up on my big board that might be in your range of pursuits that I can give you the briefing on.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
But finish your soup first before you go.
What kind of dumplings are these?
Flour. Real flour.
Oh. Mm.
And she kind of sits there and she watches you eat. She doesn't eat. She kind of watches you eat.
Mhm.
That's creepy.
Yes.
I eat though. I'm all about survival.
And then the 4 of you can kind of head out. And my curiosity here is twofold. I don't know what that was. One is what are you thinking about questions wise? That's sort of the first thing I'm going to go around and talk to everybody about. And then I want to know how you burn your money when you're like at station where you finally have some loose cash and you have access to shopping and people and gambling and all of those kinds of things. So let's start with you, Stephen. What are you thinking about for the questions?
Yeah. So last session, I think we talked about them a little bit, and it was the first question was what's about your character, what's about this current situation. The next one was what's something that's very personal to your character, and the third was what about the world.
Okay.
So for the question about the immediate situation, what I had written down was, why does Romero want to escape? We figured all of that out, so we're
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
So I don't know what exactly about the current situation
Oh,
what
yeah.
questions you would have yet.
Yeah, we'll have you fill that in once we kind of have a sense of the job that you're taking and stuff. But yeah, I like those other 2 questions a lot.
Yeah. So the second question is, how many others donated memories to become me, what I am today? And my third question, which was how the world works, is once a person is clipped or killed, how do they get reborn into pieces into new person? How do they get reborn in pieces into new personalities? One of the conditionings I have is treat everything and everyone as transient. So I think Annalise's perspective is, you don't just die, right? You have pieces backed up in different places, and they all get shifted around. And leading into your second question, which is how do I spend money? I think I probably spend money on upgrades.
Okay.
And I think this is, I go on to the, I don't know if this is a legitimate market or a black market, and I probably buy memories and different pieces and stuff like that. In the last,
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: what kind of memories are you looking for?
I'm not sure. In the last session, I leveled up, so I took a move called Wired Synapses,
Mm-hmm.
which allows me to roll at the start of a session and spend hold to react to a situation before anyone else. So I think narratively, that's a good thing to spend that cold hard cash on. Is I think I found that I was a little bit unprepared, or want to be better prepared for things like what happened on the ship in this last mission. So I go out looking for something that would increase my reflexes. I'm thinking, especially since this was a stressful mission, there's probably a little bit of, I'm going to buy some memories that are, pleasant. Just, maybe a birthday and everybody's smiling, and, maybe having a little bit of cake and ice cream, and something very simple, and, something that I can just relax into.
So yeah, I think you will be able to get a plethora when you get the memories. Do you what is the like that particular kind of currency look like? Are we seeing USB sticks? Are we seeing chips? Are we seeing like holographic coins? What do you think?
Well, I think this is all within the veil, so it varies from each individual veil. In this instance, I think it's more like a cap that you put on and you slide on. It's not like a ball cap or something, but it's like a glowing hoodie, and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
slide this on and you see it kind of seep into your head inside the veil, and they kind of get absorbed. In other veils, I think this was like, you know, one of the strange ones I went to, it was like a dust that you snorted. And some of them you just jack a cable in and something happens. It's different from veil to veil.
Yeah, I imagine there's a certain amount of in reality, you're sitting in a chair with a lot of subdermal connections and things like that.
Mhm.
And the wired reflexes, do you imagine is that a like a physical implant, or do you imagine that it's virusware, or do you imagine that it's a tuning up of your cybernetics? What do you think that is?
I think it's sort of like a skill injection.
Okay.
I think that in my mind, to a certain extent, there's all these different uh nanites and implants that we all have, and this is sort of like a software upgrade.
Okay.
But I think it comes associated with memories from someone who was very quick on the, maybe this was someone who was a magician and had a lot of sleight of hand or something like that.
So nanoware, it does it on the physical level. We've got memories that come in, so we actually get kind of a muscle memory
Mhm.
pairing there. Okay,
I think so.
that sounds great. What's the tick you have for the few days after you get that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it's a fidgeting with things with your hands. So this might be taking a physical coin and making it disappear and pop back, or a card pop back up, and it's an unnatural tick that I don't notice for a little while, that I'm having, but I think it annoys. You know, the first couple of times you see it, it's fine, but after spending some time with me, it gets annoying.
Yeah, after a day in your peripheral vision, seeing you constantly doing this. Okay. Um, let's come to Vic. What are the questions that you have?
So for my first question, and rather than hooking in particular to the situation, I'm using the other, since we talked about, which is sort of a flag of what I would want to see going
Mhm.
forward here, which is what are the deepest desires of an AI? Like, even if it's not an AI I can talk to, like Rafe can talk to them. Like, people were getting a sense that they are a mind, a personality. Do they have an emotional core? Do they have desires? Like, I think these are the thoughts that are starting to run through Vic's head.
Especially since Wraith is talking to machines that people like say don't have AIs, and yet Wraith is contacting these things. Okay. And your other questions?
So for my sort of character facing one, is what does it feel like when love is more important than survival? Which she just it's tied into that flashback. She has these memories of emotions that burn out all other thoughts like that, but she hasn't lived them again, this incarnation through. And whether it's her own emotions or whether she is, being someone else and feeling their emotions that way, she just wants to know. She wants to connect with that person in her dreams in a way that she can't yet.
Nice.
And then looking at the world, I'm curious about how much do people live or think outside of their imprints? Like, are we really just a complicated set of programs that someone put together, and we're going to follow our imprints through whatever stimulus life gives us? Or do people genuinely build something new on top of the sort of interchangeable parts they were given to start with?
So where does the imprint end and the rest of you begin? Where those bounds?
Yeah, where do you stop becoming a collection of bits of other people, and when do you start becoming a person yourself, something distinct and sort of gestaltly, all of that together?
Where do you stop living and get real? Okay, yeah. So tell me, Vic, how do you unwind? How do you decompress?
Well, I think definitely something of decompression from her is being in crowded places, and spending time just sort of flowing from one person to another, not trying to get anything out of it, just following someone interesting and then being them for 5 or 10 minutes and then finding someone else. It's a little bit of like exercising her conditioning gives her a biological feedback response. Like, you feel a certain pleasure and satisfaction when you're doing the right thing.
So you're kind of wandering through the crowds. We see that montage of you changing, sometimes slightly, sometimes more, and getting that serotonin hit. When you do that. Okay. Yeah.
I think for an extravagance, something that she would go for would be like real, totally organic produce, like fresh vegetables and fruits.
Yeah, hydroponics on a station like this are rare. The space just doesn't make it worthwhile. But there are some people that do that, and they're like, oh yes, we can get you some leaves of romaine, crisp, right out of the produce. And we just had a tomato come in.
And it's very much the single sort of objects, and she gets drawn into. She goes for the like very fancy single packaging that's like sparkly in places and translucent in places. You just get peeks of it and you like open it and it's one stalk of celery, or it's
Yeah.
like 3 berries together or something like that.
All displayed, and then you have to lift off the thing that covers that, and then you break the seal. Oh yeah, and like there's just a little bit of crisper mechanism in there, so it keeps it just like the perfect temperature when you open it up.
It's very much the sort of like sensory ritual of it. It's the finding it and buying it because it looks so enticing. It's the going somewhere like that's proper to enjoy it in, and the ritual of unwrapping it, and then the like very like that first slow crunch sort of thing.
Very nice. Let's come to Forte, who has a shoulder cat.
I have a shoulder cat. It's super concentrating on being shouldery. Okay. So let's see. I think my first question was the character facing one, and the one that I wrote down last time was, how does Forte deal with the non-clipping parts of the mission? And I think she has a kind of heightened threat sense, and she tends to go very much like everything is to make sure that we're going to make it, is pretty much what she's thinking. Like, not that she can point to anything where stuff went terribly wrong with this crew, but like her whole system is wired like that could happen at any moment. And it's not part of the conditioning. It's just like an old, something that happened before maybe.
So a low level anxiety that comes from one of your imprints, from one of that sets of memories.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's see here. And then I think the other question that was about something about me that I answered, and I think Forte is trying to figure out if she's running from or seeking that water, that whatever that water is in her dream.
All right. And the last question?
What does Forte know about the veil that the others don't seem to tap into?
Ooh, interesting.
So
there's definitely something there that you read when you read the veil. Because of course you approach memories and data and things like that in a very different way than the others do.
Yeah, and I think she's super tuned into how information has been organized and presented. It's like she picked up on that theme, the Romeo and Juliet theme, very quickly. So I think that's part of it. Is she's like got a high level pattern sense, but not for practicalities, but for aesthetic almost. If that makes any sense.
That seems good.
Okay.
How do you unwind, decompress, use your downtime here on Glasgow Station?
To kind of, she splits between going to all of the places where they're prepping like food, particularly like workman food, the fast stuff that you get between one shift and another, that kind of thing. All the fried food and the quick prep food where it's like stalls and stuff. She goes there and tries that. And she talks to the people working there like she's looking for someone. Not that she knows if she's looking for someone. She just always does that. And then the other thing is that she works out what it is that splits the area between like where the high and the low live. and like the boundaries and borders between those things.
Okay. And it is the high level, and that boundary is fairly clear and marked. But then as you go down, it's harder and harder to tell exactly where the shifts, though there definitely is that. That sounds good. I like that. Let's come to Wraith.
All righty. My first question last time was, does Carpe Diem enjoy their task? I think I found out no, and I help them enjoy something a little different. Let's see. The second that I have, which is the personal, is who still doesn't believe I was clipped and is trying to find me.
Mm.
And my third, the kind of world one, is what does the political situation look like in our galaxy? In both cases, it's kind of a. I think Rafe has a bit of a longing to be back in the mix of things. And so this is, in both cases, it's a little bit of trying to feel out, understand what the world is out there for him.
Absolutely. What do you do to unwind?
I like to explore the places I'm at, and it's not really touristy sort of things as much as going to the unusual places, the places that people don't notice, getting to less populated places and stripping down the veil to see what's really there. It's, it goes along a little bit with my kind of programming of going out and exploring the unexplored. It's that Rafe really likes to see the underlying things.
Yeah, you will be able to get down, to that sort of equivalent of down below, where people live and scrabble out, and do things to get a few coins to pay for their life support taxes, and where essentially patched together 3D printers and stolen materials are converted into things to print out tools and things to live by down here. Definitely it is I don't want to say a thriving community, but it's definitely a community that recycles and repurposes everything.
Ooh, I think I really find that fascinating. And is it the sort of place that I'm, where they're repurposing? Am I seeing them adapting this into themselves? Or are they using it to alter the veil around them? What is kind of the, we lost somebody.
Altering the veil and building material objects to actually survive using, like shivs, like cooking utensils, things like that. Gathering up waste stuff. They're a problem because essentially there's a certain amount of reclamation budget for the station that gets eaten away by what they do.
Right, because there's loss off of that thing.
Exactly. But not a lot of cyberware here, because cyberware requires upkeep. Except for the most basic sort of, hard implant prosthetics and things like that, those things can be kept up with a minimum, and we'll see some of it purposed to keep those things together. But anything more sophisticated, and you'll probably see people who are missing eyes and things like that, where the prosthetic eye, bionic eye, eventually degraded. and they just couldn't afford to replace those things.
Okay. And as I do this, I tend to like keep this constant stream of information going back to Cry Havoc, so that like my journey has a little bit of the family circus Billy wandering around the neighborhood thing of, you know, Cry Havoc keeping up with where I go and the reality I see as compared to the veil.
Interesting. I hadn't expected the family circus to get referenced tonight, but I like it. Yeah, and I think you could definitely do that and get a viewpoint and take that back. How do you think Cry reacts to the situation, to the existence of these people? Does it register with them as something unusual or problematic, or is it just part of the way the machinery of the station operates? How do they view that?
Kind of the bad situation they're in.
Yeah. Or do they just not quite understand?
I don't know if Cry completely understands, but would probably place it along the same idea of wasted units.
Mm-hmm.
Something that could be put to use, should be put to use, that is wasted.
Interesting.
That sort of idea.
That seems good. Steven's computer is crashed, so he is restarting right now. Well, let's do like a quick scene with the three of you meeting, you know, after you've had some time to spend on the station, maybe to talk about Frau Laurent and what's going on and where do you go to next. What does this meeting space or the gathering space on Cry Havoc look like? Tyler, how big is it? What kind of thing is there?
I think I've met with this before in the galley, and I imagine it's probably in that same area. It's just that we have like the galley, and then we have a place to sit where we've got screens and things we can, you know, womp, 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 and put up and all of that. But it's close by because, you know, a meeting's boring. People want to get something to eat and drink and all that. So, you know, it's kind of a nook.
Vic, do you do anything? I mean, you change yourself to personalize yourself. Do you do anything to personalize the space around you?
I think she tends to do more of that in her head.
Okay,
That's sort
yeah.
of like personal veil rooms. And I don't know, it might be the sort of thing where we're in like group talks or meeting spaces or something. Like she'll sort of gently invite people in to start seeing the things that she's seeing, but she sort of rewrites things that she doesn't like to her own vision.
Okay. And for you, Forte, how do we know from your body language, positioning, all of that, that you are, even in this place, that is the place that you go back to, that in a sense you call home, that you're still kind of on that, like, not exactly paranoia, but you're still on alert. You're not relaxed.
I think she always does it that perimeter, like, but I don't want to make her sound like she's you know, some hard ass thing.
No.
I think she kind of goes and she's always like opening the cabinets, the things where we physically store stuff. And she looks, make sure it hasn't changed from the last time. You know, like it's as much as anything, it's a paranoia about what things can change under.
Oh, okay.
Under her. And then I think that she also like, even when we're in like Vic's meeting rooms, she will test those as well. Um, and she is the one of the group that's the most likely to actually struggle with a little bit with Vic's rendering of the situation, if that makes any sense. To
Okay.
go, no, like this, kind of like she's got her own truth that she that isn't an emotional truth, if that
Okay.
makes any sense.
It does. So to frame up where we're at right now, Annalise, we're kind of doing that talk that the group is after having done some downtime, but before you go back to talk to Frau Laurent again. So, Wraith, what are you saying about the current situation?
Well, you know, I've looked around here. They got a lot of folks that aren't doing so hot. This place has a lot of underclass, and if their AIs are going all wonky on them, this place there's a lot of trouble going on here.
So is there a place for them on the planet?
Well, they're terraforming, so my guess is that it's pretty heavy regulated at this point. I don't know. I mean, we need a few jobs. Getting a little nest egg before we try and jump is a good idea, but I don't know if this is the sort of place we want to stick around for a really long time.
That makes sense.
We all in agreement we should see what Frau has on offer?
Yeah.
I think we should, but we should be very careful about this AI situation.
I agree. And they're seeing it in other systems. I mean, that either they're really lax in their maintenance, they haven't had architects around in a while, or there's something screwing with them.
Corporate stuff is like behind a bunch of walls. You get architects, all they can do is manage what they can get a hold of. But corporations, their whole thing is putting walls up. I mean, that's the thing. That's why they can do that. It's also probably why they go insane. Or just
It's
bored.
running the terraforming
I mean,
around here.
Yeah. What are they doing? They're mowing the lawn. I mean, think about it. For an AI, that has to be the most samey thing you could imagine. No wonder he's staging Romeo and Juliet.
Well, we'll need to be on our edge here. Just let's all be careful, and I'll tell you, sending a fleet or sending a flotilla off into the middle of the blackest, I don't want to see that happening to us.
I thought you'd be sort of interested in that.
I like heading towards the light. There's nothing out in the blackness.
Do you think it was vengeance or curiosity?
That's a good question. And the answer to that probably is, well, in the end, that's what we need to really worry about. It's curiosity. If it's vengeance, well, this planet's in a, well, they're really fragged.
Truth.
Not at all. I mean, if it's vengeance, that's just an emotion. That's something human. That's something very human. If it's curiosity, that's
Even more human.
something else. Playing with people's lives just to see what happens, that's maybe not.
It's an interesting thing to say, Vic.
Yeah.
Shut up, voices in my head. You're not real. I'm the real one today.
Let's do this. Let's take a break till about 10 after. We'll come back and we'll do Frau Laurent presenting the jobs to you, and then maybe we'll do some walk around scenes on stations so that we can get some NPC interactions and go from there. Sound good? Okay. So you will find yourselves back at Frau Laurent's. She is much the same. And she says, I have a number of jobs. If you wish, I can go through what I have on my plate. And then we can talk further, or if you wish to narrow the field ahead of time, like these are things that we don't want to do, you can say that now.
We're not really a wet works team. I can certainly tell you that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And
I'll
you see
look
her
around.
look down at the thing going up the mass driver again, and she goes, "Oh, okay."
Nobody got killed there. But I'll look across at the rest of the team of, are there preferences that y'all don't want to do?
We'll gravitate towards the ones that meet our strengths.
Absolutely. Well, I have right now one, two, three, four, 5 possible jobs. How exciting is that? It's a full menu.
And excellent.
Yes. So there, I don't know how much you do in terms of bounty hunting. There's a man on Miranda, that's the most urbanized planet in the system, who escaped from police custody, jumped planet to Miranda, and there's significant bounty on his head. Then let's see. This is a little more involved. There's a set of 3 brothers that have been, how do I put this, doing some stripping of ships and people, but it's happening in the sort of semi-illegal space lane upper atmo starship race circuit. I can give you more details on that. There's a race coming up here soon off of Jukebox, and we expect the brothers to be there, and might be worth people's while to grab them. I've got 2 other ship things. One I expect you don't want. We've had some issues in system with a pirate single vessel, pops up, hits target ships with anti-personnel, kills the crew, force ejects ship's cargo, apparently grabs that up, wipes, clips effectively some of the ship's memories of the incident, and then leaves the ship intact. I have a lead that this pirate ship might be working out of a particular asteroid station, or at least has been spotted near there. It hits in the mid belts, which is routes that are often off of official tracking. So authorities have up till now ignored it. I also have heard that one of the corporations, in fact, your friend Romero's corporation, they lost a ship in system.
That was careless of them.
It was careless of them, but here's the thing. Something must be very valuable or very, very hush-hush to them, because I heard about it through back channels, and they're not reporting the vanishing. We know that they didn't jump, and we know that it's still in system somewhere. If it could be found, a clever person could bring it in for salvage or other things. And lastly, I have a smuggling job to the Lepidus Needle Station.
Vic, would I be assuming too much to think that you have us somewhere when we do negotiations that we can dip into to talk privately?
Let's see. This is
How you feeling?
yeah, this is Frau Laurent, who is our dearest, closest friend.
Yeah.
You trust her
Best
more
job.
than anyone else.
Yep, best job broker we've come across yet, so I'm feeling very at peace. Which is that one? That's a 9.
That is a 9. So
Can
Which
someone
means
help?
someone could help.
Can I help
yes,
roll?
that would help.
Do I roll or do I? Okay.
You roll.
I roll. Okay. I got to go hit the roll table. I'm sorry. I'm the worst.
You are.
I am.
How dare you?
I know. And where is it this time? Is it in basic moves?
Basic moves, bottom.
Okay, thanks. Sometimes it's on the lines of veils. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's basic moves. Okay. And
It's like a puzzle.
it is. It's like the
It's a
tiniest
game within a game.
yeah. Okay, I'm rolling 2 and I'm going to add, gosh, what is this? This is probably, what's the thing for just making sure everything's okay? Just a quiet check.
Fear.
Peace or power.
Peace.
Peace. Sure, I'll do peace, whatever that is. What's my roll on that?
0.
Okay. So I'm rolling 2d6. It's going to happen. Wait, I'm not in the right thing.
I had a moment this week where Will
Here we
H
go.
was having problems. He couldn't roll, and he was like, somebody roll for me. And then he was like, Lowell, roll for me. And I said, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. Snake eyes.
Oh.
So I rolled a 7, which is sufficient for the helping.
Okay. So that takes it to a 10 plus. How is it for Forte that you assist Vic in the building of this lobby?
Well, when Vic draws a lobby, Vic is essentially building something that feels peaceable and comfortable and is essentially communicating Vic's state. And since Vic is very, very comfortable here, I probably just go around and fluff the pillows, so to speak, and maybe just kind of, I don't know, how do you say this? Slide the bolt on a few of the shutters, just so that it's not so easy to come popping in. That's all.
So secure and can hold all of you, right?
Yep. I think the secure definitely came from the help there.
Okay.
Forte's help.
And this is something, I mean, I'm just wanting to get an idea here. We can kind of eke into it with a separate thing, like our images are still sitting in front of Frau.
She probably is aware that you are digital lobbying, and probably is at least poking to see if she can overhear, but it's secure.
And I probably would say, let us consider a minute.
Oh yes,
and
talks amongst yourselves.
But yeah, it's sort of an in and out, multiple layers, speed up but not quite sort of thing.
Cool.
So do you want to do a race?
That does sound interesting.
I wouldn't mind the lost ship. I wouldn't mind the race ships. I wouldn't mind.
I think that we've had
lost ship in system sounds interesting.
We've probably had enough to deal with Romero already, right? So do we want to count him out?
I think Vic wants to kick him in the shins. Am I reading that wrong, Vic?
Well, I not kick him in the well.
Well, maybe not the shins. Maybe a little higher up, but
just might be interested in getting a deeper dive into that.
I think we could strike smuggling. I will mention something here, just as a thought, not making a suggestion yet, but reading that pirate, that's a shepherd.
Because it doesn't hurt the ship?
Doesn't hurt the ship.
But doesn't take the ship either.
And can clip it.
They're also very violent towards the crew. They slaughter them all.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not suggesting that's what we go after. I'm just giving a bit of information on what I think they're dealing with here.
I mean, it sounds scary. It sounds a little bit like maybe someone with more firepower should be taking care of that.
Yeah, this might be something for later, but it might well be worth something us keeping an eye out for.
Is there a police or military force here in the system?
I think she said that this is happening kind of in the in-between. So yeah, there is, but this is happening in a bit of that no man's land between spaces.
So let's actually talk about that a little bit. Is there anyone else like you, Rafe, that could help in this situation? Are you the only chance that they have?
There are a lot of shepherds, and I hear rumors that some shepherds are able to kind of almost feel each other as they go through space, or they communicate in a way. I myself, I tend to stay closer to my ship than the other shepherds. But yeah, there's a bit of a network of us. I just don't know if there are any around here.
Okay.
I would say, personally, I lean towards either the race or Romero's ship. Because Romero's ship might be really lucrative, something in that. And I like that it's completely off the radar, as in they're not asking for help. They're trying to find it themselves. So now the race, of course, would be awfully interesting too.
Did we get an indication about, some of these pay more than others?
She'll kind of pop out to ask that. And she says, well, some of them definitely have a pay. Like, for example, the brothers, the bounty hunting, the smuggling, those three, there's a price tag attached to those. The other two are more speculative.
Could we ask for the information on multiples? Nearly, because I think we might be able to roll two of them into one.
Let's not have you bite off more than you can chew. I tell you what, though, if you do one of these jobs and do it well, then I'll consider double booking you for future jobs.
All right. When is the race that you mentioned on Jukebox?
It is coming up fairly soon. It's probably the one of these, besides the smuggling, that has a little bit of a timetable on it.
Romero's ship, though, is just a question of who finds it first.
If anyone's looking for it. There's some oddities. I tell you what, if you're interested in the Romero ship one, and I put that out there purely speculatively, why don't you do one of the other jobs first? And let me invest a little in seeing what else I can find out about it.
Seems reasonable.
That way, maybe I can get a better sense of what the ship is or what sector it vanished in and that kind of thing.
What the pay structure might be.
I don't know if I'll be able to get that because I don't know what is going on, but at least maybe evaluation.
Back in our little cubby. That seems fair. We certainly will need more information to go on. So, race or smuggling? Or not, race or bounty?
I think the race is a bounty, and the pirate ship is a bounty, and the bounty is a bounty.
The bounty.
So the race sounds good.
Yeah.
I
think
really
there's interest in
appreciate
the race.
how well the Frau is looking out for us and getting all the information for Romero's ship first.
She's a very efficient job broker.
Yeah.
All right, we settled in.
Yep.
Well, Frau, I think we might want to deal with these three brothers.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So they are called the Tongal Brothers. Jake, Octavian, and Mears. They specialize in body appearance mod and other things. So getting specifics on appearance isn't great. However, and she will gesture to a doll and have the doll bring over a little plastic capsule. Would you please, my dear, hand that to Annalise, it is?
Can I pick up this capsule?
Yeah. And you'll open it up and there is a thumb in it. So the last job they pulled, somebody managed to catch them out and they left behind that. It's been freeze-dried and stored, so it should be still relatively fresh. And I understand that your skills match with those things?
Yes. Yes.
So here is what we know. You may not be aware of it, but there is a fairly lucrative black market betting that goes on for off-corp space lane races, usually in the upper atmo of dangerous planets with asteroids, belts, magnetic fields, all of that kind of thing. Corporations like to keep a hold on entertainment, sports, things like that. So these are illegal technically within the system. And what the Tongal Brothers modus operandi has been is for the three of them to go in. Two of them insert themselves discreetly in and amongst the sort of buoy station, while the third one participates in the race. Then when the race gets close to a conclusion, they either jump the winner in the immediate aftermath, or as the race is coming close to the finish line, they bounce the ship off course, and then go in and scavenge and scorch. They strip the ships, tear off things, and head out. So we don't know what their current ship's appearance is. But they also strip the pilot. They do a force imprinting and rip their skills. They then sell that on the market, or in some cases, we believe, keep the bits for themselves.
Happens to the pilots.
Well, they've lost their skills at that point. Force imprinting is a little like clipping. So most of the time they're dead at the end of it.
It's a forcible overwrite, and she sort of stops and goes, and it's messy.
It's a nasty bit of business.
Yeah, it's why I'm glad to have this your team perhaps pursuing this. So I can get you an invite to Jukebox. It is a hive of scum and villainy. But I can get you in the proper papers, all of that kind of thing. I will say, since it's happening here soon, there probably are some people here on Glasgow who are heading from here to there. So you might be able to get some news on the ground.
Have you happened to hear anyone who's particularly renowned or well known, like a favorite in this race?
There are two. Uyama Maru. She's quite skilled, and she's won some races in the past. And then Baba Jun. Supposedly went under another name, was a expert racer, retired for a while, and has come back for personal reasons.
Could he be one of the Tongals?
Or the Tongals might be impersonating him. That's a possibility.
Well, Fraulein, thank you very much.
You are more than welcome. I'll have the proper documentation and countersigns sent to your ship. I made up some lunch boxes for you.
That's awfully kind of you.
And there are 4 dolls kind of off the side, and each one of them comes over with these sort of metal lunch boxes that they hand to you.
Ooh, literal boxes.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Frau. Honestly, your care is far greater than I've ever experienced before with somebody in your position.
I like to take care of my friends.
That's very nice. You definitely didn't have to, but that's very nice.
What a suspicious pause.
Well then, I'll be seeing you.
Once we get back to the ship, if there's nothing in between, I've been holding my box there, and I I'd like to do my thing speak.
Mm-hmm. Let's have you make that roll.
Yeah, I think I'm a little fearful. How do you get rid of spikes or marks?
You roll on the other side.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever
so,
you roll on the opposite, the stat that's opposite, the state that's opposite,
okay.
you add one to that and tick the other one back down.
So I'm taking down power because I'm taking fear.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Cute. So I'm rolling with fear, which mine is 0. And the dice roller is sticking with me there. That's a 6.
That is a 6. You sense
Is there a way to
motherly.
help him?
How would you help him on his unique imprinted move? I have a question. What did you roll with that imprinted move, Tyler? What were the numbers?
Oh, I rolled. Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, we
A
haven't.
2 and a 4.
Okay, let's take a look here.
Still good. I think it's a 1.
Yeah, you didn't roll the 1. I think that you will get a maternal feeling from these boxes.
Mm.
I was going to say I was going to trade him my box so that he had another one to go off of. But
it's almost like a motherly box. That feeling like she is looking out for her children.
And I think more
these are going to get us into so many troubles.
what delicious treat is inside?
So there's what's clearly a homemade baked roll, like with real bread, and then there are some fresh organics, like little salads and things like that, and there essentially is a wrap with a real meat protein thing in the center of it, and like in the most beautiful, like several layer encased, there's like a little a pastry cupcake with the most finest little frosting and decoration on it.
I would almost do the deal just for these lunches. This is so nice of her.
This is unbelievable. You were right, Vic. She's something else. It almost makes sticking around here kind of tempting.
I know, just used to much more violent and thieving and cheating and lying quality of job broker.
I guess we just got lucky.
So lucky, she says, eating another piece of salad.
Wraith, go ahead and mark XP. Don't forget when you roll a miss.
Oh, that's right. I've been really racking up some XP.
There you go.
This dice roller is wanting me to advance.
So what I'd like to do is like a once around of what you do on Glasgow Station, either buying equipment or talking to people or meeting with NPCs here before you take off for Jukebox. Wraith, what would you do?
I suppose that if we're heading in there, and is this invite as an observer or as a racer?
You could show up as a racer if you wanted.
I feel like we almost have to. I mean,
it is your class of ship.
Oh, well, then I suppose I'm going to see if I can find, go ahead and work on Cry Havoc a little bit and see if I can get her tuned up and ready to be able to blaze across this race.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's do kind of a roll to like go and talk to people and get parts and things like that. Mm-hmm. And potentially generate some hold that you could spend during the race. How's that sound?
All right.
So when you go to gather souped up gear for the ship, roll on a 10 plus, you get 3 hold. On a 7 to 9, you get 1 hold or 2 hold if you accept a cost or consequence.
Okay.
And on a 6 or less, you get XP.
Yes, I do that. Well, this I think this is power.
Okay.
So I'll pop that up and drop that down, and I roll with a +1. That's an 8.
That is an 8. So do you want 1 hold or 2 hold?
And repeat to me what if I take the 2.
It's 1 hold, and it's and you don't have anything.
3.
Two hold, and I'm probably gonna eat one of your creds.
Oh, let's eat some cred.
Okay, yeah.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah. Burn a cred, and you've got 2 hold to use for racing maneuvers and rolls.
And there's even a spot there for special hold.
I believe that Patrick created that.
Oh, how clever of him.
He created it in a sheet, I believe, long ago, and it has, as many things do with these character sheets, it has remained generationally as these sheets grow and evolve.
All right. And just to if this is possible,
Sure.
while I'm working on her and adding all these things and pieces in, does this feel like a layer break, my new move?
Ooh, let's take a look.
When I share an intimate moment with a craft I have experienced confluence with, be it physical or emotional, choose one of the following. Take +1 forward to rolls pertaining to the craft, or clear 1 emotion spike from an appropriate stat.
I think that's a perfect time. You get this chance to bring new souped up things for Cry Havoc.
Okay.
You unwrap them.
I'll show her. Look. So I think I'm going to clear a joy so that, this seems like a happy thing I'm doing.
Okay, yeah, take that down 1 tick.
Okay.
Let's come to Forte. What do you do? I'll remind you of a basic move that we always have, which is link. You can always introduce a new NPC and then roll to see what your relationship is with them.
Okay. However, truth of the matter is they have the thing if you have downtime after clipping someone, they don't make it clear if the clipping is like death clipping or just like part of their identity clipping. But I assume that you carry something back from either of those.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, I'm supposed to my conditioning says I have to get rid of any of that.
Yeah,
residue
let's do that residue move, and then we'll take your sort of action move.
Okay, so I suppose that I typically roll this with power. It's the thing I'm supposed to be good at, right?
Right.
I don't even know what my power is. Yikes, Sherry.
Yes.
I know. Okay, so 1. So I will roll 2d6. I'm going to add 1 to it.
Okay.
Essentially, I'm just rolling 7s today, so that gives me an 8.
Okay. So you've got some residue from the target. So this is from Jules, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you stripped out of her was essentially a imprinted assassin, biomod and stuff like that. So what is it that we see of that, and you dealing with that, those elements, the residue from that personality?
And I do remember that she sort of had those those needles and stuff, and I think that's it. Forte is kind of like paranoid about her nails, and that there's actually that poison stuff under it. like, what do you say? She's keeping her hands clenched like this when she's around people. And she's sort of nervously looking for something to, I think she's going to go and look at buying something that is for hand mods because they have to like scan her hands or something
Mhm.
like that. So I'll probably do something like that to see if that
So,
will help me get rid of it.
so essentially, you go shopping, you get some things that like almost like some dermal gloves that are nice and kind of so you can actually feel, you get the more tactile sensation of your fingers, so you can work out and separate your sense from the sense of those things being in there.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Or how else would you imagine it? What are you thinking?
I'm trying to think of if there would be any mods that you would buy that were for the fingers like that aren't that kind of thing. Like
Ooh.
literally just go, I have to get rid of this. So because she can't shake that it's still there. So she's literally going to replace the mods in her mind.
Well, how about something like a hypersensitive touch, like the ability to read by touch or measure temperatures by touch, that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, or heavy duty vibrational sensitivity or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that'd be a piece of cyberware.
Okay.
So let's see. This is repairing Sonics. So this is probably a 2 cred piece of cyberware.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go to the cybernetics thing. When you find
Okay.
someone to install, remove, otherwise modify cybernetics, I think with this is a station we've established, it has a fine emporium. I'm not going to worry about the emporium role for this, but are you going to somebody that is reputable and trusted, or are you trying to keep this more on the down low?
I think reputable and trusted because essentially think of it as Forte knows that she doesn't have the needles, but has the feeling that she has the needles. So she needs someone that will take care of it and that she can say, of course, they would take care of those needles.
Okay.
Does that make any sense?
So that's
She
plus
is
1 to the roll.
buying that trust.
Yeah.
So,
It's a new part, so that's another +1. Are these parts registered to a company with tracking and legit registration, or are you avoiding the tracking?
That's interesting. What's the price of having it be tracked? I mean, what does it mean if it's being tracked? That someone would be able to read that I have sensitivity to vibration?
Or be able to track where you are?
Ooh, that's not cool. I mean, if I can get the a GPS turned off, that would be awesome.
Okay. So
Yeah.
right now you've got a +2 to the roll.
Okay.
The last question is this. Do you want to go through integration therapy in order to remove the negative tag that you're going to have on that?
What does going through integration thing mean?
It means that there is additional time spent to remove any kind of negative tag that you would have. All of the cybernetics that you start with are clean. They don't have negative tags, but cybernetics that you buy after the start have a negative tag.
Okay.
So
sorry,
basically,
I have to go through all this stupid system.
This is the first time we've hit this system for a while.
Exactly. So, sure, I will do that.
Okay. So then your total roll will be a +0 right now.
Ooh, okay.
I assume that you don't want additional tags because you can take an additional -1 for each extra tag you take.
I don't need extra tags. I just need these poison needles gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess this all comes out of this residue thing. So that's probably fear, isn't it? Or would it? Yeah. I think inherently that's what's driving.
Well, you're not
the
rolling with a
bonus.
stat. You're rolling
you're
with
not.
a +0.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, this could go terribly wrong.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's see how wrong it goes. So I'm rolling 2d6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I got a 6. Well done.
Now, you may spend an extra cred to give yourself +1 forward.
Does what +1 forward do?
That would take it up to a 7 as
Oh,
opposed to
sure.
the 6.
Yes, I would like to not have fingertips that are a horrible handicap to me.
And have to go and find where the negative tags are because they aren't in this. But for the moment, you essentially have the sensing fingertips, and I think until you get a chance to use it, the first couple of times you use, you're going to have -1 to it.
Okay. So I ended up with a negative tag because I didn't.
Oh no, you don't. You don't have a negative tag. That's right. You took the integration. So I'm sorry.
Okay.
I just remember that. Yeah. So
I
you
was
get the,
like,
and I still give you the negative tag.
Okay.
You lose.
Okay. All right, that
We
sounds
played
good.
with that, GM.
Yeah, we did. So okay, fingertips.
And whenever you say fingertips, I'm going to think of that bit from They Might Be Giants.
I know, me too. As soon as I said it, that's what I thought of. All right. Thank you for going
All
through all of that for me.
Absolutely. No, it's a good thing to know because cybernetics, it's an opportunity. There's some cool stuff you can add on. Vic, what are you up to?
So if we're going and trying to fit into this like racing world, I feel like we need to know a bit more about it. Obviously Rafe has the ships and anything to do with the ships that we need to know covered, but like I want to learn about the current racing scene, like who's hot and who's the up and comer and what the recent scandals are and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Let's have you make the lift the veil roll.
Okay. I think this is fun for her. I think this is digging into
Oh yeah.
not just a new hobby, but like she's trying to find the racing community here on the station. So she's digging into like a new obsession and a new way of life for some people.
That's perfect. This is
so-
that legwork that you dig.
Oh, good. It's a 10.
So let me look at that. So on a 10 plus from our scroll from Lift the Veil. Definitely there is some back and forth, some like competition that is a little bit on the razor's edge, like the racing that's done is very dangerous. It is risky, and it's kind of unregulated. And the thing that is kind of talked about right now is twofold. One is that during the last big race, they got raided by corp agents, and this wasn't in this system; it was in another system. And there's a strong suspicion that someone sold the race sponsors out. And so you're going into this with a couple of double sets of paranoia. One is people are worried that maybe there's a, informant in the racing scene. And of course, people are nervous about those that have heard about the Tongal Brothers. They're worried about that. The other thing is that the person who's managing the jukebox race, whose name is, and let me get this right here. I had a really Chakramawi. Chakramawi, he was the one who was also managing the last race. And rumor is if this doesn't go off right and he gets, the proper corporate betting and it be exciting and all of that, that there may be organizations that will be calling in their markers on him.
Gotcha.
A picture for Chakramawi. Does that seem like pretty good info?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Let's come to Annalise. What do we see you doing?
So I'm going to toss out a few possibilities, and let's do the thing that sounds most interesting. First, I have at start of session wired synapses for a hold.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay, so I can do that. Second, I have the tracer where I can track something, and I was given a part. Was this a part of one of the racers?
This is a part of one of the brothers.
One of the brothers. Perfect.
Yeah. And that will probably be something that you can hit when you're on site.
Okay. Another option would be to see if I couldn't get something to help me hide from the ship or something like that. The AIs, something like that, once, so that whoever the racer is, I can back them up. So I assume that Rafe is going to be the racer, and I can back them up. And it wouldn't be obvious that there's a second person on the ship.
Oh, okay.
And then another option would be to try and contact someone to see if I can get a hold of some code that was stolen, that we can obviously tell was stolen, to bring it back to the group for them to go over and see if, hey, this is something that we can find a trace in this that we might be able to get back to the brothers. Do any of those sound more interesting than the others?
Well, let's start with your roll for your reflexes. Get that in the wind.
So I rolled an 11, and I think that gives me a hold 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So it's good.
Yes. And then you said let's hold off the trace until we get in the middle of the race.
Yeah, I think once you get on site, onto Jukebox Station, yeah.
And then what sounds more interesting, trying to find something that would hide me from them, or trying to I think it's the last thing I mentioned, which is trying to find someone who would be selling some of these illicit memories from the racers that we can then potentially see if we could find a trace about how they did it, or see if we can track them back down from that.
So it might be able to tag another one of the brothers that way.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I think that the person I go to for that is in our backstory, Forte and I have a secret that the wrong person was clipped. And I think this is the contact that we went to help us cover it up.
Okay. Well, what's the name?
Oh, I don't have a name generator up. Give me.
Dun dun
look-
dun.
Yeah, I'll pull up a name generator and I'll give you the name in a moment.
Okay.
Let's go ahead with the rest of the.
So yeah, let's have you roll to see what your relationship is to them right now.
Okay. And I think this would be rolling with probably peace,
Mhm.
because I'm trying to just be as relaxed as possible and not set off any radar.
Just be chill. Be more chill.
That is a 6.
That is a 6.
Yeah.
I think that when you go to talk to this person, that you can see that they're not quite at the same like strata that they were before. They've clearly slipped a little bit in the underworld rankings, as it were. And he looks at you when you come in and he's like, "You motherfucker." It has been a while.
Yeah. It has been a while. I don't know why you're so angry with me.
Because of the blowback I got after I covered up for you. Nobody will pin it on you, but I got some heavy pushback.
Oh, I had no idea. What exactly was the problem? Was there, are you in trouble with a particular corp or?
There is a bounty hunter who has been floating around, and he kind of gestures to his leg and came in and broke my leg in several places trying to get the names or information on what happened. I didn't give him shit, but I know he is still floating around the system.
Would it help if I were to try and get him off of you?
Yes, it would help if you were to kill him or get him off of me. I'm good with either of those things.
Okay.
Until that's done, you owe me.
I see. That is definitely true.
Now, I know you didn't come here to chitter chat and to commiserate over my crooked leg.
Well, I'm glad I came here specifically because, man, if I had known that before, I would have come sooner. Next time something like this happens, feel free to reach out. Of course, not right away, because then they can trace you.
My point exactly,
Yeah.
reaching out to you was not a particularly great option.
Right. So, and this is an obligation, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, I came here for some goods, and I knew you were the best in the best around here. And what I'm specifically looking for is some stolen goods from a race. And I just want to see if we can potentially, use them a little bit, but these can't be the regular memories. These specifically have to be those stolen memories. You get what I'm saying, Desmond?
I get what you're saying.
Good.
Now I need you to roll Emporium.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Is this part of a corporation? We look at the Emporium move. No, he is definitely not part of a corporation. Is it filled with a wide variety of merchants? I'm going to say yes. There are a lot of merchants around here, so he has some contacts. So we'll give him a +1. Is it policed in some way? Oh, no, you're dealing with black market stuff.
Yeah.
Then to answer the following questions: are there thieves and urchins circulating here? I'm going to say not immediately here. So you're not going to take a -1. Is there a gang presence? Not. We'll leave that out. But he does know you, so that's a -1. So roll with a +0.
Roll the +0. Okay. That is a 7.
2 cred. I know who handles these things. I can get it for you. Not like a full write-up, but essentially it went to a cutter and they parceled out some skill sets, and I can get you a piece of that.
Yeah. And I'm going to give him the 2 cred, and I'd like to give him a bonus on top
Ooh.
of that for simply keeping his mouth shut, knowing where his bread is buttered, and for the pain and suffering he's already already had. Would that just be another cred?
That'd be another cred.
Okay.
And he would thank you. And within a few hours, a data bit will be sent on to you. Let's take 5, and we'll come back. Does that sound okay?
The important thing is that we get a picture for Desmond.
I have it in there. So we've kind of done that work, and we've seen Wraith. You contact essentially the organizers, and just because we already have their name on there, you will talk with Chakramawi, and he's like, "Hey, yes. So, you here? Is it better? Are you coming in? How is this deal that we are doing?"
I was thinking I'd be coming in as a racer.
Oh, another racer. Oh, Black Horse, late entry. Yeah.
No problems with that.
No. You know what you're getting into.
I've traded some paint over the years.
Okay, then I don't think we need to worry about it. You just there's no waivers.
And
Okay.
I'm presuming that there's not going to be any sort of interference from the law.
No, absolutely not. No. We're very careful about that kind of thing. Running. We've got it all taken care of. There's nothing that you need to worry about whatsoever.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So yes, was it what was the name again?
Cry.
Oh,
Wraith Ransom and the Cry Havoc.
Cry Havoc. Oh, that's a good name. Good name.
Good made up name.
Good made up name. Nick Sopadish. Excellent. Good name. So we will see you loading up onto the Cry Havoc. And what is the cool like takeoff engine effect that we see for the Cry Havoc?
Ooh, well, looking at our picture, I get this impression that our jets, our rockets, it does a pivot. They're mobile. So when she takes off, they do the kind of VTOL thing of, and I think we get that the blast down, and it does that radiating circle kind of as it lifts off, and then we see them shift back down as,
and we see you hit that the sublight drive that has some relativity shifters to it that means that it only takes a couple hours for you to get to the target, and it's a unstable gas giant with 3 belts that run along it, and a set of some gravatic fields that clearly have issues. So imagine that we can see the race path, the buoys there, and we can see like gas flares, almost like solar flares that come up from time to time on an irregular basis, as well as the various asteroid things that you have to settle in. Tell me, Sherry, this jukebox station, hive of scum and villainy, what is it that tells you that this place is just barely holding together?
So this sounds weird, but it's really that, like, all of the places that do the fast food meals and stuff, no one has the seltzer for the sodas and the fizzy things. And you can tell, that that's like one of those things of when
You saying it's all flat soda here?
it's all flat soda. They're trying to sell that, they're like going back to this. Oh no, that's how they drink it in this place. So it's all syrup and just water. And that when they're not paying for the carbonation, that you got trouble, because the tanks are pricey, they're heavy, all that stuff, but still, they're cutting pennies in weird ways.
And what is the decor here, Vic, when you kind of ships, and there are several of these ragtag racer ships all around. When you get actually onto the deck of the jukebox, the crossroads, what is the predominant theme?
So I think the like main promenade public area, it carries on very directly from the name. So there's like plasticized wood paneling, and there's this like stripe that runs down all the walls at waist height that's like a tube of color changing neon, and then like a band of water with like bubbles running through it, and then another tube of color changing neon.
And it's like corroded in some places and distorted, and there's some gunk in the pipes of some of the water, where you see it kind of bubbling along, and then something will kind of whoop off to the next section. What is Stephen, what's the one thing here that is surprisingly nice? Like, somebody must care about this, so they actually put a little money.
And that's me.
Yeah.
It's actually the sound system. In the Vale here, as you walk around, we hear high quality music. It's not like, it is not elevator music.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and it's not pop crap or anything like that. As you walk around, it's kind of tuned to you.
Mm-hmm.
They must have spent lots of good money to make sure that it fits everyone's different personality and their interests.
It's a cyber Bose system.
Yeah.
Okay. With the high end, with the nice bass and stuff, and you kind of feel it there. And oh yeah, it's surprisingly good. It does that kind of noise blanketing too, so it's always the right volume for you. The crowd noise is never annoying, and you can maneuver through there, and you will be essentially taken to what has been provided for you as racers' berths for you, and can kind of get settled in there. And I think this is actually where we're going to stop, because we've just arrived. We've kind of set the stage. I want to start out with you four on the station, getting set up to be racing, figuring out what the thing is, starting to investigate, doing your tracking, all of that. Does that sound okay?
The only thing I'd like to do before we completely stop is, I noticed I have some damage and my armor was ticked. And I'd like to do the mechanical thing to clear that.
Okay. Mechanical thing. If it's are those light or severe ones? Which
It's light.
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 Light clears automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can clear light automatically, and armor will reset automatically as well.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about it until late in this session, and I was like, oh, before we start the next session, I want to figure it out. Okay, cool.
Let's go through. Let's look at the questions. Though, Forte, do you think you hit on any of those questions? Made like even kind of push towards finding an answer to any of them?
I mean, non-clipping parts of the mission. I don't know. What do you know about the veil? Not really.
Okay.
Except for non-clipping parts of the mission, because she goes and takes care of her clippings. I mean, post-clipping.
Yeah.
And then she's careful and a little paranoid. So
Let's give you a point for that.
okay.
Tyler, do you think we hit on any of your questions? Even to make the slightest progress towards them. That's all it's asking for.
Let's see. Who still doesn't believe I was clipped and is trying to find me?
Not
And
yet.
political situation looks like in our galaxy.
Yeah, I think we got some of the politics and
Yeah.
things because essentially they're only like 8 inhabited star systems. So
Okay.
so I'll give you a
And I
point.
need to pick a
Yeah.
question 1 at some point here.
But I'll give you a point for the political situation.
Thank you.
Patrick, what about for you?
I don't think we quite got into the first two, but I think with going to investigate the like racing fandom,
Mhm.
I mean, people are imprinted and programmed for jobs and for commerce and for useful things. Surely no one imprints recreation, so that has to be like something that's very much their own and
Mhm.
outside of the imprint.
Oh, I like that. So give yourself a point for that. And what about Annalise?
So I don't have an entry for number 1 yet. I'll probably try and make one before the start of the next session.
Sure.
Number 2 is how many others donated their memories to become me. And I think we touched on that a little bit as far as adapting them for the quick reflexes, the
Mhm.
enhanced reflexes,
Yeah, yeah.
and along with the buying the memories of the racer to track it down.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Give yourself a point for that.
Okay.
And one of the things is these questions can be refined, changed as you need to, and we'll check in on those at the beginning of next session.
And how many points to level or to get a thing?
5?
Oh, 5. Okay, cool.
What is the game where it takes? Oh, I remember. It's the Sprawl. Takes 10 to go up, but you get a lot of XP. That's the one. Would you mind doing a quick stars and wishes? Patrick, can I start with you?
Sure. Let's see. I really enjoyed Frau Laurent. The just like unnecessarily oblique creep factor of like watching us eat and then being very careful about giving us food while at the same time like being so trustworthy and so caring. And so it's that balance. It's that like initial 6 on knowing her, that 6- on knowing her, but I haven't actually spotted the thing that's wrong with her yet. I'm just constantly looking for it. It's a neat feel to someone that we're relying on.
Glad you dug that.
That's mostly among wishes. I have a really sharp headache coming on right now,
Sure.
so I'm sort of having a hard time processing much else.
Well, if you think of anything between now and next time, just say. Tyler.
I want to start. I thought that Stephen, I liked your whole off on your own bit. I thought that was really cool, really, really interesting. So I enjoyed that a lot. Patrick, I continue to like the introspection sort of aspects of your character. I think the looking inside to see bigger things. I think that's really interesting and nice. And Sherry, the Clipper with regrets. I love the Clipper as a playbook, and I like seeing what you're doing with it. I was really tempted by this playbook, and I would have played it very differently. So seeing how you're doing it is it's a delight to see. And Lowell, I love that you threw multiple lines at us, multiple hooks. And when we chose one, you were ready and it was just a flowing. It felt just seamless as you got into it. That's really cool.
Oh, good. Thank you.
For wishes, something I talked about as a thing when we were building tone in the session build session. I would like, this is one of those moments, maybe see the kind of neat out of Cry Havoc, see what that little something extra that Cry Havoc has.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving you a chance to do some cool shit in the race. So
yeah, I feel stacked for this. We'll see if the dice have not been kind.
Stephen?
I'm going to start with wishes. I noticed on the other moves page on the far side where I hadn't paid much attention to, there's a few moves there that are really interesting to me. So to carry on with Tyler's last thing, there's a catalyze, which is when you push your body to do something in line with your purpose and enhancement, yet beyond conventional human limitations.
Oh, yeah.
You roll. And then the one right above that is combining moves. Whenever you have multiple moves that might be right, you roll once and take the result on all of them, like it's one move.
Interesting.
And I'm not sure how that would work. And then the one above that is a flashback. And I'm really confused by the flashback. When you take a flashback during some event, you take the highest die from your roll and subtract it by the lowest die to get the result. And I think that means that's not the result of the roll, right? I think it's you then add as many emotion spikes to the state as the result. So I think what it's saying is that you can do a flashback to get something and then spike out.
Yeah, we'll have to check on it. I'll look and see where it says. I know that flashbacks can come from some of the use of your inherited move and from humanity harm. So I need to check and see. But that's a really good thing for you to point out is those. So combining moves, flashbacks, and catalyze. Okay.
I was just looking at them trying to figure out what I would end up doing during my downtime and my alone time and all of that. And I was like, those are really interesting, and I don't think I understand them. Maybe if I saw them used once, I might understand how they work.
Sure. Yeah. We'll look at how we get those into play.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the flashback was the damagey thing. Yeah. But I think you're right.
As far as stars, this was a great session. I think the last session was very actiony, and I really want to say I appreciate the pacing. So we all got a little bit of downtime. We got to talk to the Frau, and we got to talk amongst each other, and that was all really good and kind of do our own thing. That felt really good. And I especially, I think this is always true of the Veil, but I think it's also true of all the players. They all brought in their emotions into everything that they were doing. During the discussion about which thing to take, it was antagonism towards Romero, or it was I want to see what the ships are doing and all these different things. And it was like, I think the Veil, because of the way you choose choose what emotion you're rolling with, and because of the players that we have at the table, everybody is thinking all the time about what emotion they're dealing with, and I really appreciate that.
And then Sherry.
I could say ditto to everything that everyone else said, because all true. Well, I mean, except the stuff about me. Good. But anyway, this game is, I love the Veil for that emotional discussion. I love the Veil for the strong thematics and each of the characters, that essentially when you choose these things, you're choosing what the themes are of the story that you're telling. And I love the Gauntlet because they always hit that target and then push through that target and smash that target through a few walls. And this just feels really good. It's weird. I'm already really committed to this race in the sense that I want to win it for Rafe, but I also want to find these guys and I want to help out this goofy race promoter and all of these things. So I want carbonation back in the soda. That's what I want. So yeah, no, this is awesome. I love the world building and everything that's going on. And I love all you guys too.
Awesome.